is a very which is very profound actually, is on authentic caring and what that feels like in the body. And so I thought it might be nice to start with just a question of, if you think back over the last recent past, if someone might had offered you a moment of authentic, hi Megan, so nice to talking about the book, and we're going to continue from the prologue and in caring. So he's talking a lot tonight about what the feeling state of authentic caring is like in the body, and I thought it'd be nice to just mention, if it occurs to you, something that might have been offered you in the last several weeks or near recent past, where someone offered you simple act of authentic caring, something that just touched you. It could have been a simple smile. It could have been a meal that was made for you. It could have been just a genuine act of care, helping you out spontaneously, whatever occurs to you. And so when we go around this little small group of ours tonight, let's mention our name again and where we're Zooming from, although I think we all know each other pretty well. And I can start. So I'm Sue Ellen, and I'm in Berkeley, just down the street from the Nyingma Institute. And for me, when I was planning this, I was thinking about a very simple thing that happened. A younger person in my life invited me to attend something at UC Berkeley for a class of hers and a presentation that she was making. And I was delighted to be asked to go to this. And we enjoyed it very much. And that was that. And I felt all full up from that alone. And then a couple of days later, she passed a handwritten note, very simple, was not formal, just thanking us for being there. And just the fact that this 26-year-old spent a moment, somebody who's always on their phone, spent a moment to just write out a couple words of appreciation was so touching. And, when I thought back to it, I could just feel how honored I was that she recognized appreciation and took the time to write that. It filled me up in a much greater measure than I would have expected, and my guess is that's the kind of authentic caring that Rinpoche is speaking of in the reading that we're going to do tonight. So if something occurs to you as we go around the circle, please share, but if not, don't feel pressured to do it, whatever you'd like. So let's start here with Olivia and Donna, and you guys, if you could speak up because we don't have the mic tonight.
Okay, I'll begin. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. I think I know everybody. It's so good to see you all. And I would like to say something about this idea of receiving a feeling of caring. And today I met somebody who I knew 30 years ago. We have not seen each other for over 30 years. And she had been living out of the country, and anyway, we lost touch, and she got in touch with me through the Institute, and they sent me an email, and we connected, and it was so interesting to hear her talk about some of the important things that have happened, and it was her speaking and her listening. So the communication it just felt imbued with caring, and I felt that she listened with her whole body. Mm-hmm. And it drew out of me a deeper kind of speaking.
Oh, yeah.
And it was something that we shared, and we've been talking about this in the Lotus class, and it was such a profound experience. I would not have recognized her if I'd seen her on the street, and I don't know, maybe the same thing would have been true for her, but we resonated so deeply, and so it was just very magical.
Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful example. It really is. Mm-hmm. Donna.
Hello, everybody. I, about a week ago, one of the office workers at the school where I teach offered, I said I was thinking of giving out certificates at the end of the year. And we hadn't done it quite a while because of COVID. And she offered to do it for me. We usually do it ourselves. Said, oh no, it'll be very easy on the computer. I can just merge the names with the, the certificate, blah, blah, blah. And she made, made it sound like it was very, very easy, although I don't think it would be, because I have 36 students. But she just, no, I'd like to do it. And it was, I felt so happy that she had offered to do that, because it's like a big burden when you have to do each one yourself and print it out. Sometimes they come out crooked and you have to do them over. And she had more expertise, and I just felt so grateful that she was so, magnanimous as to offer that. I said, it's no problem.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see, Lois.
Hi, thanks. This is Lois from Placerville. I was a court-appointed special advocate for many kids over the years, and I had two kids that were siblings, Gabrielle and Cassie. And some I hadn't seen them in like 5 years because they got adopted and everything was fine. But I happened to run into their adoptive mom, and we arranged to have me come over there and pick them up and take them out and play and take them to McDonald's and everything. And they were so excited to see me because I was with them for like 6 years during very difficult times for them. And they even had some stuffed animals that I had given them 6 years ago. And just the caring and the love they showed me and I showed them was just, uplifting.
Yes, it is. That's beautiful. Great. Thank you. Cecilia. Whoops, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. I am coming from Berkeley. I go for a walk most days, all around the town, all different places. And in most not most, but quite a few walks, some surprising conversations will just spring up by passersby. And it's just, it makes the world feel fuller of kind and like-minded, that's really not the right term, but just friendly people.
Yeah.
So sometimes with the news, you start to think, but no, you go out and there's these people. And, one was like a very young man who just said so surprisingly, just said, well, good afternoon, as he walked by.
That's surprising. That's great.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Crossing generational lines.
So those things are uplifting.
Yes, they are. That's beautiful. Thank you. Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori, and as most of you probably know, I live in Hawaii on the Big Island. And one of the things that really struck me recently is last week, I needed to take my husband for some specialty medical care, which involved a trip to Honolulu, which is a plane trip and a challenge as we get older. And I went through setting the whole thing up and I got us there. And this was a doctor that we had known before, but he was particularly attentive. He paid attention to why we were there and what the concern was. He took the time to address it very thoroughly, even though there ultimately wasn't anything he could actually do to change anything. And he thanked us for making the trip, because even though he comes to where we live once a month, the next appointment wasn't going to be until August, and we couldn't wait that long for this particular problem. And his attentiveness to actually making sure that he addressed the problem that we went to all this trouble to deal with. And then it just surprised me when he said, and thank you for coming over here to where he was, because it's easier for him and he had more time to address it and whatnot. And then, so that touched me, because I know how busy doctors get, and they don't, a lot of times they're pretty rushed. And then we made the whole trip home, and I had been kind of getting my husband through all of it. And when we got home, I was tired, and I just sort of sat down saying, okay, I've done a lot getting him through this. And he made a point of getting me something to drink and going and getting a cupcake I had baked the day before and bringing it to me and all that. And his appreciation, it was just a whole day full of a lot of
yeah.
people being very kind
Yes.
to each other. It was
Yeah.
very nice to say.
And it's, and I love the word that you used. You said attention, and I think that it's that, where you really, it's like widening our attention, and so that you can step into some other person's shoes, and actually see what's going on around you. It's really nice. That's good. Abby.
Well, I've tried to think of other ones, but this example keeps coming up. So I live in a funky apartment complex in Berkeley. It's near Original Pete's in Walnut Square. If you ever pass the corner of Oxford and Vine, you will see it. It's like this weird ramshackle 8-unit apartment complex. And
Home.
it's anyway, our friend and landlord Steve has been for the last like 3 weeks fixing the pipes.
Mhm.
And the pipes in this place, it's the kind of thing where you can run the hot water the whole time, and maybe it will get kind of lukewarm by the time you're, done with your shower. But he has been so taken care of and investigating. Part of it's like forensic, like what's happening, what's the rust doing, and here and there. But he's also been, I'm going to have to shut off the water now, and here and there. I've got buckets of water out here if you need to flush the toilet.
Wow.
And he just, every time I see him, he's talking about what stage it's in, and he has another guy who's with him, and it's like it's not that it's an obsession, although perhaps it is, but I've never seen anyone be so thorough and care so much about, it's like the whole house is it's like alive. It's like it's a body in a way.
Uh-huh.
And he's so systematically attending and caring for each limb of it that there's something that feels very cared for
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for all of us. And
Wow.
that's a pretty unique experience.
Yeah, that's so good. That's a really interesting, great example. You told the story well too. I can imagine this place. I'm going to look for it too.
Yeah, it's funky. Anyway.
Megan and Hui, welcome. And we'll describe, we're telling each other our names and where we're calling from, and telling a recent story, if you'd like to, you don't have to, of something, a gesture of authentic care that was offered to you in the recent past. So Megan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but yeah, I think we
Okay.
can. Can you all? Yeah. Speak loudly.
Sure, sure. I'll try to turn it up on this end. So, perfect. So, hi, Megan, Toronto, Canada, and so a guy that I worked with on a team about 5 years ago, a really fun team, is retiring at the end of June, and 4 people on that team reached out to me and said, "Hey, I hope you're coming to Jean's retirement party." And that was nice because I'm actually on leave right now. So they, people got hold of me through various means, like email, phone, text, whatever. And then my former manager contacted me and he said, "Hey, I hope things are going, well with your parents right now. And you're probably going to be looking for other secondments. So do you want me to look over your resume and hand it around?" And I don't know, I just felt like really, yeah, very, very cared for and very appreciated. And it was a fun team back then. So it was nice to sort of go back there in my memory as well.
That's right. That's great. Thank you so much for that. And Wei.
Hi, I'm Hui, Toronto, Canada. Um, I recently went to a ceremony and it was like an overnight stay. And I was having a difficult time and I was just really sleepy. And usually we leave in the early morning. I just couldn't get myself to wake up early. So when the facilitator was really gentle about it, I didn't have to ask her, like, can I stay a bit or anything? Well, I don't even think she had a choice. I was so sleepy. I was just sleeping everywhere. And but then she woke me up gently to tell me to sleep in another room, like a more private space. It was more secluded. And then I was able to get like a nap until like the afternoon. Everyone had left. It was just me and her. And then she said that, and then she woke me up just to let me know that like I could sleep for as long as I want, and I could get myself an Uber, or she could drop me off at that moment if I was ready to leave. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just leave now then. And then I was just getting ready, and then she asked me if she's like, oh, weren't you the one who talked about food? And I was like, what? And I was like thinking about it. And before I could reply, she like got 3 Tupperwares of food for me to take on my way. And then during the whole ride, she was just really fun and talkative. And I felt so cared for. And none of these things I asked for. And she just did them all. And I think it was just really the icing on the cake was the food, because I just love free food, like any form of free food. And so that was
Beautiful.
the nicest
Wow.
thing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. How generous this person. Wonderful. And we've got Robin Wallen. Hi, welcome. Hi, if you'd like to appear, or if you can't, that's fine too. We're just going around and saying our name, where we're calling in from, and a generous act or authentic caring that was offered to you in the recent past, and it can be a very simple thing.
Oh, I'm presently in Maui, and I didn't turn the camera. I just raced in. I just got from off the beach, so sorry. Not really presentable. And
That's fine.
carrying.
And you can pass too if
I
you'd like.
passed, yeah.
Okay, great. And I almost forgot Hedian. So, hi, at the Nyingma.
I'm at the Nyingma Institute. and every day appreciative of everybody. But last Saturday or Friday, a few days ago, I mean, a few months ago, I talked to my daughter what was my concern, and then she said she'll check back after a few months later. There was maybe this month, and then I completely forgot about it, and then she remembered it and asked me about it. So I
feels
was very thankful for her because we are far away from each other.
Mhm.
Sometimes I feel like, do we really talk to each other? You know, kind of, I mean, every week, once a week, we talk, but I'm not quite. Sometimes I'm not quite sure, but she remembered me.
So
It
nice.
was very good.
Yeah. Thinking of mom, that's great. Thank you guys so much. So we've taken a bunch of time, and I think what I was going to do a little Komne, but I think I'm going to skip it so that we have time enough to go into silent meditation. But I'd like to read a few pages from the prologue, and then we'll go into silent meditation. And I'm going to ring the bell once after about 10, 15 minutes so that we can shift around if we'd like to. If you don't want to interrupt your meditation, you can just continue on with that silent meditation. Then I will ring the bell 3 times. That's the formal end. We'll complete the reading, and then hopefully we'll have a little time to chat among ourselves. So I'm going to start close to where Megan left off last month. And the subtitle is The Real Thing. And Rinpoche writes, "We need food to live. We can survive on food even if it has no flavor. But there are people who have mastered the art of cooking. Some of us know how to make even a simple salad or a glass of fruit juice a special, memorable experience. This kind of food uplifts the spirits and nourishes the heart and the mind as well as the body. Real caring is like that. It has a distinctive flavor. It is a healing essence that can be distilled from experience in much the same way that skillful cooking can bring out wonderful flavors of our food. This special quality is caring's seal of authenticity. It is the watershed that nourishes life. We can sense its presence in thoughts and gestures, but it doesn't stop there. It runs underneath all of our expressions of kindness and is deeper and broader than any word or action. We know caring is real when we encounter this encouraging atmosphere, this delicious flavor, this indefinable feeling of peace. We respond to it the way plants respond to moisture. This wonderful quality expresses a kind of pure caring beyond the from and to of relationships, comparisons, and measures. I believe there is something more to discover about caring than what we commonly understand. It may be that we can learn a new art of caring by taking a closer look, not at what we care about, but how we care. Caring could permeate all we do. It could shine through every facet of our work. It could reveal beauty at the heart of our most basic activities: eating, sleeping, talking with friends, washing dishes. When our ordinary lives are invested with the quality of caring, they are transformed. Learning how to care might mean learning how to care not only for 1 or 2 things, our favorite things, or things that worry us the most. We could learn to open our hearts to this quality of expansive, unconditional caring, experiencing and expressing it for ourselves." And so I hope we have a chance to read to the end of this prologue. It's a really wonderful reading. So we're going to skip a little And I think we can just come into the seven gestures posture right now. So let's shift around on our seat or cushion and find that place of balance and rootedness where the back is straight but not rigid, very relaxed, tucking the chin in ever so slightly so the eyes have a downward glance. Eyes are slightly open, not looking at anything in particular, just a soft, open gaze. And relaxing the jaw, allowing the mouth to drop ever so slightly open. And as you can, we can curl the tip of the tongue and place it at the top of the upper palate, right behind the front teeth. And breathing through both nose and mouth simultaneously. The hands or palms down, resting gently on your thighs or in your lap. And just take a moment to feel the parts of the body that are resting on the earth. The hands as they rest on the thighs. If you're in a chair, sensing the soles of the feet flat on the ground. Sensing your bottom on the cushion or the chair. And just take a moment to feel that support. Support of the earth, support of gravity. There's so many things that support us. And then breathing through nose and mouth, connecting with breath. Move into silent meditation, using the breath as our anchor. And if you notice that the mind has drifted away, just gently nudge it back to the breath. So if you'd like, you can shift around a little bit. And let's make sure we're all muted. Stretch as you like, but as soon as you are ready, you can just move right back into a silent meditation for a few more minutes. Slowly coming out of meditation, take your time. So continuing our reading. This is under the subtitle, Expressions of Caring. When it is truly alive in us, caring is more than a theory. It comes out in how we live our ordinary lives, how we do our jobs, support our family members, and relate to our community and environment. It's important that caring can come out in perceptible, practical, real-life ways. Keeping spaces clean, cooking healthy and delicious food, and showing others gentle attitude and calm temper can sometimes express our caring far more effectively than flowery words. For we know from our own experience, sometimes words cannot go deep enough to change anything inside us. We need to find a way to convey real caring to ourselves and others that gets down inside our hearts and minds where the soil is fertile and the seeds of new possibilities can grow. In this field of active caring, our actions communicate as well as our words. Behavior like this can quickly be recognized, appreciated, and emulated by others. No special instructions or insight is required. It shines out in the way we treat our tools, the way we cook our meals, the way our houses and gardens feel to be in. It shows in how we move down the street, how we engage our duties as citizens and members of the community. Real caring is immediately apparent in how we clean up after ourselves and how we maintain and repair and strengthen what is weak. Caring doesn't leave hard work to others or imagine that some abstract body, they, will fix everything and pay for everything. When we really care, we take care of it ourselves, quickly and without any fuss. When we really embody this caring knowledge, we say, no problem, consider it done. Real caring shows up in real respect for others. It takes time to appreciate their efforts and encourage their growth and development. If someone does something nice for you, for their family, for the community, caring takes notice. In this way, caring inspires caring. And then he ends the prologue with this, caring includes you. We can easily understand how important it is to feel appreciated when we see how helpful and beneficial appreciation is to the people around us. And yet we rarely appreciate ourselves. We don't normally take the time to celebrate small victories or achievements, or to encourage ourselves when we practice caring. Be honest. How often have you told yourself, well done? This was worth the time and effort. That self of mine did a good job. Let's rejoice. Some of us never hear these words from ourselves. Yet this self-encouragement and self-support lend us the strength to accomplish much, to improve. As we improve, we gain self-respect. In time, self-respect becomes self-confidence. We can feel an honest self-appreciation that lets us recognize our own virtues. After all, you noticed the need, you offered kindness and care. Your discipline, sincerity, and kindness brought some good into the world. That goodness is eminently worthy of notice. Does it seem selfish to say so? We might think so at first, for as a rule, we are little used to the idea that deep appreciation, even for ourselves, is an essential part of caring. We can see very clearly the benefits of caring. We can see just as clearly the consequences when care is lacking. We can take a little time to examine our own lives and to see the same patterns play out in human history at every scale, in every situation, and we can see the difference that caring makes. Caring brings out the best in us. It supports big, ambitious projects. It gives depth and meaning to our knowledge. But caring doesn't only manifest in big gestures, it's also there in the tiny details. Even just paying attention, staying calm, and weighing what we say before we speak can contribute to the atmosphere of real caring. This is caring all of us can do, and caring is magnetic, attractive, it inspires others to care too. So that's the prologue. And yeah, and it's always a wonderful introduction to this book. Makes you say, I want to spend lots of time with this book. And think of the power of that in the year ahead, you know, and the kinds of ways that we can be conscious of that and just be uplifted by things others do for us and what we do for others. So any comments from the gallery? Anything strike you in those readings that you want to share?
I love the line, I really appreciate you, self.
I know, you never think Rinpoche would write something like that. It's great. Yeah, it's great. Mm-hmm. But he stresses, he has always stressed self-encouragement. And I think it's an area that we really need to pay attention to. Any other thoughts? I was so efficient. We have 5 more minutes together.
I hope we keep reading this book.
Yes.
I feel like it really is helpful.
It's so interesting to me because when he, you know, like he writes, you know, that there's some, he lets us know what inspired him to write this, because he says, I think there's something about caring. Let's see if I can find that paragraph. It was, I believe there's something more to discover about caring than we commonly understand. And I think when we each spoke about the ways that we were impacted by people's care, whether it was very small or very large, you know, it was way more than the actual experience. It's somewhere, like Olivia speaking to the fact that the attentive listening of this old friend, it created a whole nother path for her to open up and meet that person in that same place. And that's what I think he's talking about. There's a power in it. It makes food taste better. And we all know this. I am a terrible cook. No, I'm not a terrible cook. I'm a average cook. And I notice all the time that when my partner cooks, things taste a little bit better. Why? There is something about his energy that then transforms the food. I have to suspect, and I think that's what Rinpoche is alluding to. There's a power in it. So if there's no more to say, I will just close this evening, and we can dedicate the merit of our meditation and our time together. And I thank you guys so much for each of your shares tonight. It was, I think, very valuable. So let's close by offering up whatever benefit we've received and just giving it away to all beings everywhere. And we'll chant Om Ahum 3 times. Om. Ah. Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Suella.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. See you next month.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.